Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. And today we're talking about washers in knife pivots. So a while back, I'm not sure when this video will be coming out, but a while back I made a video on 10 knives that run on washers and have a great action. And on that video, someone commented and asked me, basically, why washers? And I thought, you know what, that's a good question. That's a very good question. So today we're going to answer it. These three knives sitting in front of you, what do they all have in common besides being blue? They all run on washers. So we have the Tangram Vector, the knife that needs no introduction, the Spyderco PM2, and the Steel Will Modus. So these are three really great knives, three really cool knives. In fact, the review on the Modus, again, I'm not sure when this video will be going live, but it will have either just come out or will be coming. Love this knife, by the way. Love all of them. But yeah, they all run on washers. And so the way the question was presented was, why would someone choose washers in their knife over bearings? So let's go ahead and talk about that. So in case anyone doesn't know, which I doubt there's many watching, but just in case, these are some washers right out of a knife. There's usually two varieties, a phosphor bronze and Teflon. And what this does is what anything in your pivot does is it sits between your knife blade and the liners or scales. And this is what the knife travels on in order to open. And I should have taken apart a knife with bearings to throw up a picture of bearings real quick, but I didn't, so I will throw up a picture of bearings. I can't show any here in the video right now. So what are the main benefits to having bearings in your knife? Well, let's go ahead and grab some knives that have a ball bearing pivot. We'll grab you, and you. Two Bestechs, that's okay. I like Bestech quite a bit. So these knives all have ball bearing pivots. So what ball bearings do, basically, is they create less friction for your knife to have to fight against in order to swing open. So again, basically, especially, let's grab my flashlight, you can see here, in this knife, which is dusty inside, boy, oh boy. So in this knife, you can see that little yellowish area. That's basically a phosphor bronze washer that has bearings in it. And so what those do is they provide a place for the blade to rest against that has less friction and allows it to swing open and drop close very smoothly. So that's the main benefit of washers, or of bearings, my bad, is that they give you a very smooth action. The blade flies out really easily, and it retracts very nicely. And, I mean, let's be honest here, it allows for a knife to be very fun to fidget with and play with and just mess with. So that's the main attraction of bearings. They make your knife, in most cases, smoother than on washers. It will drop shut. Knives on washers don't always do that. And it makes the knife funner to play with. And I guess, for lack of better words, it makes your knife feel more high quality than, let's say, a manual knife on washers or like a assisted knife. But that does not mean that washers are without their merit. Because obviously, if bearings were the only way to go, if washers had no benefits, people won't be making knives with washers in them anymore, would they? So let's go ahead and get into some of the benefits of having a knife that runs on washers rather than bearings. So, in order to illustrate these points, let's bring out some of our washer knives again. Yeah, we'll bring out you. So, the very first thing I want to say is I don't think washers necessarily take away from a knife's action at all. On this steel wheel Modus, yeah, this knife thwacks out and it'll slap shut pretty nicely for you. It definitely is not, well, I'm going to rephrase myself. It definitely has a different feeling compared to washers. It does. But it's not a bad action. The Rat. Very good action too. So, without beating around the bush too much, the thing that washers give you over bearings is protection from dirt and grime and stuff. And I'll illustrate how this kind of works. So think about it. So with your bearings, you basically have a bunch of little balls that are resting in some kind of track. And these balls reduce the surface area around your knife blade, which reduces friction. And of course, these balls roll a little bit, so your knife does, it rolls out nice. So, let's illustrate that. Bring out some cardboard. Yeah, we're about to get all fancy up in here. So let's pretend that these pieces of cardboard are our knife liners, okay? Here's some marbles that we're going to use as ball bearings. Oh boy, I did not think this out, did I? This is gonna be a clown show. Oh man, okay, but you know what? The clown show must go on. So, I'm on 2. Come here, marble. Okay, I captured them. Okay, so I said that the pieces of cardboard are going to be your liners. This piece is your blade, the bottom piece is your liner. So there's basically what your ball bearings look like in there. And of course there is a covering around your ball bearings. There's, the track they rest in. But this is essentially what it is. And so, man, I need 3 hands. Where did I put my flashlight? There he is. And so as you can see, there's space between our marbles. And so if you're in a dusty environment, dirt and grime and stuff, water too, even if you're in a watery environment, it's going to get down between these gaps. And if it's water, it could cause some rust. If it's dirt and stuff, it'll just cause your action to slow way down. Your knife will no longer be nice and snappy. It'll be sluggish, might not even deploy fully. So what washers do is, here we go. Let's grab us some paper. And we don't want a shape like that. Let's cut out more of a little circle. Get out under the camera. All right. I know this isn't a perfect circle. But see, what washers do is, again, scale, washer, blade. It basically does this. And as you can see, these can still move against each other. But now, dirt and debris and water is going to have a lot harder time getting in there and going up your action. And that concludes our little model. Let's get some knives back out here. So that's the primary advantage of washers. So yeah, washers make your knife more resilient against wear and tear and gunk, getting up in your pivot. Some of the other benefits of washers include easy maintenance. Washers are a lot easier to, knives with washers are typically easier to maintain. Sometimes bearings can be a little bit finicky, especially if they're loose bearings, if they're not caged. Excuse me. Sorry about that. If they're not caged bearings, yeah, they could cause problems if you're disassembling your knife, trying to take care of it, and those just go everywhere. Yeah, that's a big pain in the butt. And they're just, they're pretty easy to clean. Whew, that's some gunk in there. See me? I just about chopped my finger off. They're just easier to clean. Make things not such a hassle. And bearings also, the third advantage that we're going to talk about with washers, they're less susceptible to damage in a hard use environment. So for example, let's bring out a tank of a knife. The Formax Scout. So let's say I'm out and I'm using this knife hard, which, yeah, as you can see, I do. Let's say I'm doing something completely stupid, which I'm not advocating for doing stupid stuff with your folding knives. If you're going to do stupid stuff, a fixed blade or an axe is your best option. But let's say I'm prying something. Washers offer a little bit more stability here in the pivot area for your blade. Something that can happen with bearings, especially if they're like ceramic bearings, is they could actually get damaged. They could crack or get smushed. It'd take a lot. It would take a lot, which is why I'm not listing this as the primary benefit of washers. But washers are more stable and they do add more strength, which is why you see most hard-to-use knives have washers as opposed to bearings. Now, I'm not saying that bearings can't be in a hard-use knife. I know the 8020 from Andrew Demko has, the same guy that designed this, by the way, it has bearings, and it's a pretty hard-use knife, but you don't typically see it, is all I'm saying. Now, do washers automatically make a knife hard use? No. And I mean, there are knives that are definitely hard use that have bearings. In fact, most knives with bearings are hard use. Heck, even the knives like the PM2. Yeah, see? Bearings can have good actions. Definitely knives that are meant to be used very hard. But that doesn't mean that that's only where they belong. For example, here's the QSP Penguin. I would not consider this a hard-to-use knife. It's got washers. The Modus, I wouldn't exactly consider this hard use. What I would consider these knives here is dirty use. And there is a difference. If you are going to be in a dirty environment, or if you're going to be using your knife a lot, let's say you're just in your garage just cutting up boxes, or you're in your shop cutting wood, cardboard, string, rope, hose, tubing, all kinds of stuff, and when you're done you just kind of put your knife on the counter and keep going with what you're doing. That's dirty use. It might not necessarily be hard use, but it's a dirty environment. It's an environment where your knife could definitely get gunked up. So it's a place where washers really do have a place. It's a place where washers have a place. English is my first language, believe it or not. So yeah, there's that. The review of the Modus. Maybe I'll leave this. Maybe I won't publish this video until the review of the Modus comes out, because in the review of the Modus, I do talk about what I consider to be dirty use knives, which this knife completely is. It's easy to clean, as you can see. It's got on washers. It's very tightly fit. You can't get a lot of gunk in there. Yeah, this is definitely a dirty use knife. And man, I use my knives in some really, really heinously dirty places. I'll be the first to admit. So there you have it. There are some of the reasons why washers are still used in knives today. I had a conversation with someone recently, actually, who told me, I think the Hinderer tri-way pivot system is stupid. They should all just come with bearings. Everyone that gets them puts them on bearings anyways. And number one, I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people run them on washers. And if I had a Hinderer, unfortunately I'm broke. if I'll probably get a Hinderer one day. I might run it on. In fact, I probably will run it on bronze washers. As I said before on this channel, during the school semesters, I live in the city. I live and work in the city. And then in the summer times, I live and work on a cattle ranch. And so I appreciate a knife that is not only a little more hard use, but also stands up to dirt and grime and stuff like that a little easier. And I think everyone, no matter who you are, I think everyone should have at least one dirty use knife. Just for that camping trip that you might be going on. Maybe you're going hiking, just stuff like that. I think it's better to have a knife on washers than it is to have, again, something on bearings. So, with that, I think we're going to close up this video. I hope that this was helpful to at least one or two people. And if not, oh well. I had some fun talking about this. And yeah. Washers definitely do 100% have a place in the knife community. Anyways, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe. And I don't usually do this, but go ahead and follow me on Instagram @GideonStuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Out.